All
It's
right.
all good.
All right. Let me get this thing started here. Elvie, don't forget to record when we let everybody in. Or you can start now. That's fine. We're good. We can always edit anything. Still preparing this live stream. Come on. I don't know where.
We're live in
Well,
YouTube already, so
say again.
we're live in YouTube already, so
It is? Okay, mine's hung up. That's fine. I'm just going to close that down then. All right, let me close that side down. All right, let's get this on. Let me make sure Kenner's got the, I almost called you Kenneth. Kenneth, like half Ken and French, like Kenneth.
Oh, that's kind of cool. I kind of like that. I should go by that.
I'm Kenneth. Like Kenneth, but Kenneth.
Yeah.
Sounds real Cajun. It's like a Cajun. All right, let's see what we got. Let me give you screen share, and I'll make a quick introduction here. Let's go ahead and let people in, and it'll be people that are on Facebook and YouTube and stuff.
Cool.
All right, awesome, guys. For you guys that are live with us on Zoom, and then we have Facebook and YouTube as well, or if you're watching this replay, this is awesome stuff. I mean, it really truly is. I'm super excited to I don't even want to say that much because I want to take away because I'm sort of giddy over here.
I love it.
I almost called you Kenneth.
You call me whatever you want. I don't
Kenner
care.
can do this. Guys, pay attention to this. Guys, super excited. We're going to go through about a 15-minute high-level overview. We'll give you information if there's something that you're interested in. It may not be for you, may not be for everyone, but it's probably for somebody that you do know, especially if you're in business. Kenner's going to talk about that as well. And then what we'll do also is we'll have time at the end so you guys can ask all your trick questions and see if you can stump the master here. So without further ado, Kenner French, tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been doing it. I think you just started this about a week ago. I'm not sure, but tell us about that and just give us a high-level overview, your company, and then what we're going to talk about today.
Sounds great. Yeah, my name's Kenner French. I'm with VastSolutionsGroup.com. We do tax finance and artificial intelligence for small business owners. What does that mean? Well, how most people say they've been doing AI for a while and they're experts. We started using artificial intelligence in 2010. We had our own model in 2018. And now we're actually going more public and letting people know that they can be getting R&D or research and development credits that the government will give them for doing AI. So meaning if you're playing around with ChatGPT and doing something cool, you potentially could be getting money back from the government. Actually, you can even go back 3 years and get money from the government potentially, or you could, try to do the filing to get money from the government to lower your taxes going forward. People don't realize that. And we're now just telling people what we've been doing. So if we could get some money for the people who are watching and listening to this, which, by the way, you, Nick, will be able to get money for watching this because you're doing some cool things.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty good stuff because let's just go through. I'm gonna defer my excitement and questions to the end because I have a list of them and I'm sure everybody's gonna have a few of them. So let's get through your high level overview and what is that? Who did that?
You want me to do the presentation that I put together? I've been practicing it. That will help you guys.
Yeah, you can practice on. Let's see what you got.
All right.
Can you spell AI, by the way?
That's kind of hard, right?
That's an entry level question, but you got to pass that question first. AI plus R&D equals profit.
Artificial intelligence plus R&D, research and development equals profit. So, and by the way, our market, when I say our market, VastSolutionsGroup.com, real estate investors, real estate developers, real estate, property managers, etc. A lot of those people who are watching and listening to this, I bet, are due some money back from the government. So, what is it based on? The tax credit that is the R&D, research and development tax credit. It equals profit because it allows some of the people who are watching and listening to this ways to lower their tax liability. I mean, like I say, we're going to give you the form after this, Nick. You're going to be able to, because you're starting down this journey, you're going to get money back for watching and listening to this. How does that sound?
Sounds good. So let me ask you a question. Is there an IRS code that this falls under or something?
Yeah, form 6765. That's what they should
So,
look
so
at.
that would be my first homework assignment to ask everybody. Ask your CPA if they filled you out a form 6765, right?
Exactly.
Ask them if they even know what it is. And if they say no, what the hell is it? Then find yourself a new CPA. Would you suggest that, Kenner?
That's exactly right. Right. And we
Yeah.
work with a lot of CPAs. We have 10,000 in our club that we work with that are either tax professionals, CPAs that we help work with this stuff on. And it's something, if they don't know, they should know, because there are a lot of people who should be getting money back from the government by just using Claude, by just using Chat GPT, et cetera.
So it isn't even just the deduction of the actual paid service. Would mean we're having a conversation about that. It's the value, it's being able to use that as a tool. It's almost like getting it's like getting the electric vehicle tax credit just because you bought it instead of buying it. With this car, you bought this car and you get
Right.
a gift credit. So
Right. You're totally right. But it doesn't
cool.
take that much. And we'll get into that. And this is going to be a short presentation. It's going to be full of punch. It's going to add value. I'm promising you that. How's that sound?
I'm counting on it. Let's do this.
I like that. So yeah, I would say a lot of people are leaving money on the table. It's not that, the average tax professional doesn't know that, but but I would say some people don't, that should be, because a lot of tax professionals or, professional advisors are not using AI or Chat GPT, et cetera. And that's all. I would equate them to being the same. AI equals Chat GPT, or AI equals, Claude or whatever. And people are using it for their business and developing new products and services, but they're forgetting or not knowing they could be getting money back from the government. So they're leaving money on the table. Real quickly, I'll mention who we are. We've been around. The company Vast Solutions Group has been around since 1969 under different monikers. I took over in 2006, and we've now tax, finance, and artificial intelligence to help entrepreneurs, one, to lower taxes, hopefully increase their net worth. Also, again, by using artificial intelligence, in which we've been, again, using it since 2018 with our own model. But in 2010 is when we started researching AI, and we're out there in the marketplace. You could see that we're not new on the block as it relates to artificial intelligence. And now, just like you said, a week ago, we just said we're starting to roll out this product that's helping business owners that we've been doing all along. Now, hopefully, more people will start to use it and lower their tax liability legally, morally, and ethically. By the way, are we any good? Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful for Shark Tank. If you look on our website, there's a video there that he says, and I quote, vastsolutionsgroup.com is saving entrepreneurs money. Check them out. You'll be glad you did. That guy makes sure that he vets everything. So there's just one example of someone saying we're pretty good. Now, again, I'm going to be very specific. If you're using ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini, you potentially are a candidate for getting money back from the government. It might be as simple as that. And we're going to go over the specifics, really the nitpicky specifics, but I'm willing to bet you a lot of people who are going to be watching this are potentially candidates to get back money from the government. So let's define real quickly: research and development. Investigate how to create something new. Research, pretty simple. You're investigating, right? You're looking to do something that's new or improve upon something. Development, what is that? You're actually building something upon your research, right? That's really all you're doing, or improving upon something that you've researched.
So can you elaborate on that just a little bit? So you're talking about maybe I'm trying to figure out a new way to use technology or just anything. It's pretty much anytime that if you implement something that you go and do. I'm going to tell me how to write a operating manual for X, and you build an operating manual and you build it. I would assume that would qualify for this.
Yeah, basically it depends on the circumstance, but yes, that's exactly right. And we'll get into a little bit of the specifics because there's a 4-part test. Let's go over that. I'm glad you led into that, Nick. So, there's 4-part test that the government looks at to see if you're due the R&D tax credits. By the way, it's not like you have to apply and they say yes or no. When you turn in your taxes, well, that's your CPA or tax professional will submit the forms, and hopefully you're going to get it. Very rarely are they, I'm not going to say cheat, by the way, in any way, but very rarely are they turned away. It's a very small audit rate because, again, most people are doing who are applying or who are putting in the filing are getting the R&D credit, which is better than a normal deduction, which we'll get into. So the 4-part test, are you doing something new or better? If you are, okay, that might be a candidate for getting an R&D tax credit. Will it or will it not work? Is there a potential that it won't work? Well, again, if the answer is yes to that question, you might be do some research and development tax credit, just like this, what you and I are working on, Nick, right?
Mhm.
Trial and error. If it sometimes works, sometimes doesn't work, the government, believe it or not, likes to see that because you're pushing the envelope. Does that make sense? Because maybe you're putting together a CRM that you thought would work well because of the technology and it doesn't work. Believe it or not, the government gives you money, research and development tax credits, if that's the case. And then finally, back in high school, science and technology, engineering, math, or whatever wasn't cool. Well, the government thinks it's cool because you have to have one of those elements to get R&D tax credits. Science, engineering, math, or technology is, let's say, Claude technology? Yes. Is ChatGPT technology? Yes. Are you getting that? Yeah. Take care of these 4 different things, and a lot of people are already taking advantage of doing these 4 things. So you might as well get paid and just put your form in with the government as a result of doing so.
So go back to that last screen for a second. So, and I think you alluded on this earlier when we first started chatting. I would say the majority of the viewers and listeners that are seeing this are either they're either an investor, they're a real estate agent, potentially a wholesaler, maybe they're a fix and flipper, something in the real estate space. I'm sure you can come up with a lot of different ways to integrate one of these 4 things into that business model. How do I find whatever, or how do I find a potential motivated seller strategically, or how do I use technology to do a better, how do I come up with a better way to do a cost segregation study? Maybe it's
Exactly.
something like that. That's what we're talking about here, right?
100%. The
You
answer to
want
that
it
is
to
yes.
be, you want it to be open-ended and sort of in a gray area, not something that's extremely black and white and sort of like, what if this, what if that? Got it.
100%.
Perfect.
Yeah. So I'm going to give some general examples. So creating a new marketing system. Are you doing a new marketing system that uses technology, let's say? Well, if you are, you might be a candidate for getting dough back from the government. Again, research and development dough, if you will, credit is better than a normal deduction, by the way. As a reminder, I said it earlier, a new analysis system for, investing in real estate or fix and flips or whatever, anything with respect to, in your case, real estate. A lot of our people are real estate. So I'm just throwing that out, a new analysis system as far as, looking for properties, getting them in your funnel to invest in, or analyzing the property, or, financing a property, any of that stuff usually is due federal tax credits. Property management tool is an example. And those are just 3 general examples because that's our marketplace would be real
You could
estate.
spin this to any market. You could put it in the professional services market. I'm sure you could come away to integrate one of these tests into financial services, or
Yeah.
a medical profession or something along those lines. I'm sure this is not that big of a stretch, and not that hard to figure out a way to integrate something into the rules and the guidelines that they set forth by the IRS.
Totally true. And this isn't all that aggressive because it's in the IRS code, et cetera. It's normal. And I'll explain why I really am behind this, but I'll get to that in a minute. So I'm going to give examples of what we've done here at vastsolutionsgroup.com. So, workflow, everyone calls them workflow. Einstein called them causation. So as an example, all it is automation. We've come out with automations based on artificial intelligence. So as an example, I don't have to be at the office, or we don't have to have as many people at the office because AI does a bunch of automated workflows. So everything's automated in a lot of the things we do. So that's one thing. We had to test and test and test and test. So therefore, we are eligible for some tax credits as a result. Okay. Our phone system, by the way, it's a little clunky still, but if someone calls into our system, it's AI that's going to answer that. Right? So someone could call today, 415-212-8189, and they're going to be talking to Einstein, which is our system, and it's all AI. We had to test that thing forever. We get money for it. We get money for testing it from the government, right? Tax projection plus. We've come out with this a while ago, but as an example, our AI system that we use figures out what the tax liability is going to be down the road and ways to reduce the tax liability based on artificial intelligence. So the government basically paid us for figuring that out, for figuring out Tax Projection Plus. We have a new app as an example. It's in beta, but it's in the iOS and Google Play. All of it's AI generated. So we got money from the government for coming out with an app. You understand the kind of the examples of what things could do, what people could do to get federal credit, and they're probably already doing it in their business if they're even slightly big hitters. You know what I mean? Does that make sense so far?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you, as an example, I don't know if you know this, but you have some AI things kind of behind your system that you should be getting tax credit on, meaning on your website, by the way. I checked.
Is it an all or none tax credit? Is it based on revenue? Is it a flat fee? I'm sure you're going to talk about it in some way, but just curious. You can figure
based
out
on based on expenses. And so let's say I'm making this up. Let's say someone has $1 million in expenses in their business, and they've been doing R&D worth let's say 10% of their time, their payroll, all their expenses. That $100,000 can be carved out, and that's where the magic is. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
And what we did years ago, we started this little institute for us. 20% of all our revenue went into research and development because I wanted to better the company. And so even back then, we got R&D tax credits as a result of that. Does that make sense? So meaning, again, let's say we made $1 million. We always put 20% into a coffer just for R&D. And so that's where what we spent in that example, $200,000 a year on R&D. And that's what we would have been eligible for as far as tax credits go.
Gotcha.
You don't have to do that, but that's what we did. Plus it was good marketing. People knew we were trying to push ourselves. And that's how we ended up finding AI, by the way, even back then. We have a community that we've started all based on artificial intelligence. I would say 80% of all the work for that, if you will, that product, that platform is AI. So again, the government gave us dough. And almost all of our content is AI generated or in what we call the VAST voice, telling business secrets to entrepreneurs. The basis for all that is technology, artificial intelligence. I'm not going to go into all that, but since these are property investors, most of our market is property investors, et cetera, et cetera. We have an LLC called Vast Property Solutions where we do property management, also investments for us. And that's AI. Most of it's AI, probably 70% of it's artificial intelligence. So again, we got money back from the government, right? Or we're going to, as an example. And we have another thing where we have for lending, for commercial property lending, we have 750 banks on a platform, and our platform talks to our AI system. So when someone gives us someone needs $1 million or $10 million loan, they input it into our system and we shoot out the information to 750 banks. We wouldn't have been able to do that without artificial intelligence or, Claude. In that case, in that case, it's a ChatGPT.
Gotcha.
And by the way, I'm gonna remind you one last time. So even you in your example, you're gonna get paid for this. So let's say your payroll is, let's just pretend you're getting paid $7,000 a day because you're a big hitter. The 7,000 divided by, so it'd be 1,000. So you get $1,000 that you're gonna apply for or file for research and development credit because you're here watching this, let's say for an hour. So you're gonna get money back from the government. Anyway, we can go into more details, but so let's talk about some of the benefits of AI, using AI for real estate agents, developers, etc. I'm going to say in general, I carved this out. It helps, and this is very, very true. AI helps us as a nation to be able to be more competitive against other countries that are developing AI. So there is a real purpose for this. That's very, very frank. It's very important that we push forward as far as AI because there's some other countries that are getting really, really good at AI that if they surpass us, we're going to have issues. So it does help, generally speaking, the United States. It really does. But anyway, AI allows for quick decisions. AI allows for a competitive advantage against competitors. You can get skill very, very quickly with artificial intelligence, with ChatGPT or whatever the case is. Plus, you could look professional. I can make this. If I want to do a video of me in this, or me in a suit and tie, you could do it like snap of a finger. Plus, again, as I mentioned, you can automate things. More than anything, really what I would say is for me personally, frees up time. You can automate things so frees up time for me to be with my family, Really quickly, here are the differences between a deduction and an R&D tax credit. This is getting a little too specific, but I'm just going to throw out where it shows on the total immediate savings. You see in this example, $50,000 versus the R&D tax credit's 48,000. But in the next year, the federal credit carry forward, you get another 18,000. So meaning net net, you get more money based on R&D research credits than you do normal deductions. That's the main premise for that.
Oh, that's about 18%. If you go back to that screen, that's about, on this example, it's about 18% more. Is that right?
Yep. And that doesn't even take into account the fact that, you're more quicker to market, all the benefits of AI, but that's exactly right.
And that goes to the bottom. That's to a bottom line number, right? That goes to the bottom line.
Yep.
That's actual hard dollars. Okay, good.
Yeah, I know it's a little technical, but
Well, that's what we have you guys for, to help facilitate that. I mean, that's part of this, right? I mean, they don't need to know how to do all this themselves. They just need to know who can help them do all this, if they meet the minimum qualifications, if they want other help. Is that correct?
exactly. And you brought up a good point. They, meaning all the people who are watching and listening to this, they probably have a tax provider. If they should probably go back to their tax provider and say, hey, why didn't you apply for my tax credits 3 years ago? Because you could go back 3 years. Or if they don't know it, hey, contact us at vastsolutionsgroup.com and we can work with them. But what I would say is, if people are already working with the tax provider, hey, go back, talk to them. If they need some help, if the tax provider needs some help, reach out to us. Data collection. So the way in general tax credits work, you have to do the data collection, just like we said in your example, or my example when I was talking to you, $1 million, let's say 100,000 is being spent on R&D or whatever percent. That percent could be, carved out. Does that make sense? So what are you right now spending as far as time, resources on ChatGPT to better your business? And then you look at the overall expenses. That's what we do, right? Look at the overall expenses and look for eligible assets or eligible expenses, either one. And then you optimize it. You optimize your business based on those expenses that are R&D oriented that people are already probably spending on anyway. And then ongoing, you keep doing it on an ongoing basis annually, right? Because this is an annual thing. The IRS, or I should say, Congress is not going to back off on innovation. More than ever, we need to push the envelope as far as artificial intelligence, because we're going to fall behind some countries, and we're going to have massive issues. It's going to be scary, by the way. I'm not going to get into the scary parts of artificial intelligence, by the way. What to do after this? As a favor to me, as a favor to you, contact your tax professional or maybe artificial intelligence professional. See if there's some tax credits that are missing that you should have gotten. Or if they need some help, reach out to us at vastsolutionsgroup.com.
And when you say reach out, is there like going to be a link or something they can like book a call on a calendar or something? I mean, how do you recommend the group reach out? I mean, we'll follow up on all this, and we can follow back up through the emails and stuff inside the community. But from a procedural standpoint, what is that follow up that you mean? How does that look?
Thank you very much. Go to vastsolutionsgroup.com. And then there's going to be, there's a number of things on that website, but they'll end up probably clicking contact us, and there they can fill out their information.
Okay. So we'll share with them the link as well.
Yeah, exactly. And then I'm also going to throw out one other thing. If you go to vastsolutionsgroupai.com, vastsolutionsgroupai.com, there's basically a eligibility questionnaire. You can click in, put in your information, see if you're eligible for R&D credits, which, hey, that makes it pretty simple. I mean, then you can see, well, wait a minute, am I going to be due whatever, I don't know, whatever the number is, $100,000 from the government? Does that make sense? So again, it's Vast Solutions.
I typed it wrong. There's actually that. I didn't abort that last one. It's .co. It's not .co. It's .com.
Yeah, .com. Did I answer your question? You got it?
Yeah. AI.com. Yep.
Yeah. Do the AI R&D process, then reap the rewards. Hopefully you're going to have more money for real estate because you've lowered your tax liability, and you can invest in whatever, more deals with you as an example, et cetera, and then keep doing it. Again, the government's not going to stop giving us innovation credits because the government needs AI more than ever and needs technology more than ever because our
So
competitors
the people, so let me ask you a question. So the companies that you consult for and they book a call or whatever it is, out of every 100 that are in there, I mean, how many of them are not either utilizing the credit or are not utilizing it correctly to maximum benefit, would you say?
yeah, almost none. I mean, almost none are.
Almost, so
Yeah.
almost everybody is probably missing out on some dollar amount of credit, or the ability to maximize what they probably should be attaining, especially if you can go back 3 years in the past, correct?
Right. And I probably should be a little bit careful because I don't know what that number is, but I know it's a number because most people can do one part of their business is gets over that barrier of the 4 questions. You know what I mean? Trial and error, doing something new, technology, especially nowadays. You know what I mean? So I'm going to say a lot of the people we talk to, that's the case. I don't, off the top of my head, I don't know, but you might as well ask the question. Call your tax provider and find out. Because again, as you mentioned, going back 3 years, I'm sure you've improved on your technology in some way. I know it. I saw your website. I know for a fact you would be do some. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
we've changed it a lot. So,
Exactly.
let's, so we will follow back up with everybody. We'll give them the links and some other stuff, that might be of value to them. We'll add in an email with some of the stuff that we're going to share with them as well that isn't necessarily going to be visible on this call, on this training call. But I have some questions I want to ask. If you guys have any questions that you want to ask, just drop them in the chat and then we'll answer them and get them addressed. Kenneth can see the chat as well, and then from there we can do it. So I had a couple that I'll throw out there. Is My first question I had is, how do you ensure the accuracy of the AI generated financial advice? Like,
Nah, that's a good question.
that would be that's one question, because we're dealing with technology. Ooh, scary. But and we're in and then on a side question on that is on the what was I going to ask you was the role of the human advisors in conjunction with the AI tools in the service offerings. Like,
That's a really good question. Yeah, I was talking to Bob, who's one of my business partners for vastassetdefense.com. He's an attorney. He's like, my wife was checking in some AI stuff, not with us, but in general, she's like, there were mistakes. Oh my gosh, there's always mistakes with AI. So I'm not going to say it's perfect, by the way, but it's better now. It's better than it used to be. And it's the worst now it's ever going to be because it's only going to be improving. But what I would say is that's the reason we have a CPA or a tax attorney or financial advisor overseeing it, because there's always mistakes. I will say that whomever asked that question is probably right, going down that right question. Yeah, in my opinion, you have to have someone oversee it. AI is not perfect yet, at even close.
but it's the top of the funnel kind of thing, right? It's the top of the funnel, get it through, and then when you get all the stuff, then you can start to do a human analysis, if you will, to do that. Does AI help? Is there a way to use AI to help you be proactive in like the tax planning process? So at tax time, you're not, dropping a bunch of surprises or something.
100%. For one, it helps for our business. I mean, it helps the foundation for automation, or what we call causations. Einstein causations. Number one, but number two. So imagine, I'll use an example. Imagine driving down the road. And I often say this: driving down the road. Most tax professionals say, "Oh, April 15th. That's when your taxes are due," because they're driving down the road, looking in the rear view mirror. Look forward, and that's what artificial intelligence can do. It can say, okay, you put in all the information in your model, and it shows your tax liability is whatever, $100,000. Then you can type into it ways to reduce that tax liability, all legally and morally and ethically, right? Sure, we need our CPA to make sure everything's going right, but I'd rather start with the foundation of the artificial intelligence as a foundation first of all.
Yeah, it's great. So you can almost use it as a tax prep tool in a way, right?
Oh,
Like,
totally. Yeah.
so,
Pretty soon
so
there's going to be, yeah, I can go. Pretty soon there's going to be no reason for CP. No, I got to be careful. There might be a reduced reason for CPAs because of artificial intelligence. I got to be careful.
yeah, we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings either, right?
Yeah, our CPA hates me when I say that, but yeah.
Yeah. So does that, that's good. We got a couple, yeah, I think that's the IRS form 6765. I think that's the correct number. Do you, and you don't have to, do anything, super granular, but like, just give me like one or two recent, like, case studies or examples of what somebody may have brought into, let's keep it simple. Like, I mean, what's the avatar of this? Like, is it based on gross revenues? Is it based on business type? Like, it sounds like everybody could potentially fit in under this umbrella, but at what point does it make sense in your space where you can actually provide substantial value where they need your assistance versus maybe doing it on their own, or because they don't have enough revenue or volume or whatever it might be.
Yeah, we're doing something that's called AI Credit Max with an exclamation point. We're doing it so we charge 1% of a company's gross revenue, right? With a
Okay.
minimum of $2,500, right? So let's say someone's making whatever, $100,000. Let's just say the minimum charge is going to be 25%. $2,500, but it would be 1%. So it's either or, right? So the answer to your question is usually the bigger the company, the bigger the gross, the more R&D they're probably doing. Hence the reason we priced it like that.
And so if it's costing them they'll use the KPIs that you sort of mentioned here.
Mm.
The company would pay 1% of their revenue, and what do you typically see that producing in a return back on the other side?
Yeah. 10% of, I got to be careful, but generally speaking, 10% of gross revenue should be spent on R&D. That's what we suggest.
Gotcha. So they're spending 1% to get another 10% deduction back, and that all goes to the bottom line. So it's almost like an ad spend in a way, right? You're like, you get people that do a lot of ad spend. Well, I'm willing to spend, I want 5 times my ad spend. Well, this is sort of the same kind of thing. It's like if you could spend $1,000 or $10,000 to get $100,000 back, why wouldn't you do that, right?
Totally. That's yeah. There we go. That's and if they're doing it right, if their CPA or tax professionals doing it right, they're going to find other ways that they should be getting tax credits. One, and then also number two, usually businesses start orienting themselves around research and development. So again, all the benefits I mentioned, they get more. They're better to market. They look more professional, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of things that come out of R&D tax credits, especially with respect to AI and Claude and ChatGPT.
So from a consultative standpoint, you can actually be the professional support side to figure out what the deduction should be relative to what it is, and then they would take that and turn it over to their CPA and say, take this deduction on this form based on what I was advised to over here. Is that
exactly? We didn't do that up until now, but the reason we're doing it is because it kind of got sick of the fact that so many people are missing the boat. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Everyone's starting to use ChatGPT. Well, then if you're doing that, you might as well get paid for it. So so we're going more public. I mean, we only did.
You can act as an advisor or in an advisory road, but not necessarily replace the CPA.
We can replace CPA, but that's not our deal. We can totally replace CPA,
but I mean, you don't have to. Is my point. You can just, it's like getting it. It's like it's like this. I go to my primary physician to get my health evaluation and get my physical done, but then he says, you know what, I don't like what I'm seeing on your heart scan. You need to go see the specialist that's going to do the the EKG and whatever else test, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're like the specialist, right? The CPA is the general practitioner, the general physician. You are the world renowned specialist on whatever that is.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And why are we different? Because we only really work with small business owners, solopreneurs. So, and we've been doing AI for years. So it kind of made it as an easy transition to be able to help entrepreneurs. I mean, there's one lady who called end of December and she's like, hey, will you just help me with my, artificial intelligence with Claude or whatever? We're doing it, which is crazy. And we're going to help her. And she's also going to get tax credits. I mean, that's not our normal thing though. You know what I mean? But she's a sweet lady,
Well, look, yeah, I mean, this is really important. It's like, I don't know how many pages the tax code is now, but when I was, just to put you on hold of, when I remember when I was in college, the major IRS code changed in 1986. I'll never forget this. It's still wake up and sweat sometimes. And we're supposed to be learning all this stuff about the tax code changes again. So I don't know if they probably had another, hang on a sec, this thing's updating. I don't know if they've had another major tax code. I've tried to avoid that kind of stuff in my world. That's for somebody else to do. But my point in all this, how many pages is the tax code?
It's massive, man. It's just,
Massive. It's massive. Have you, Kenner, have you read all the pages in the tax code?
yeah,
You
no.
have. And this is your job, right? This is your business, right? My point in all this, neither is every single CPA on this planet, right? So if it's this massive, the CPA is going to, most CPAs, we all need them, we all use them, are going to take the stuff that fits in the main lane, right? What I want to, correct me if I'm wrong, what Kenner is saying here is that he's picked one thing of tremendous value to everybody for the most part, and it's become the world renowned specialist on this one thing of the hundreds and thousands of pages of the tax code. And they do that better than anything else. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what we want to, that's the point I want to make. We're not telling you how to figure out how to get your mileage deduction. We're not telling you how to go figure out how to get right off your home office. They can do all that, but they're probably not getting you the maximum value on this R&D AI tax credit. And that's where I think you need to take advantage of it. And there's very few things that I've seen, correct me if I'm wrong, that you can get this big of an advantage off of doing one small thing that has such a major impact on the net on the bottom line on your tax return. That's
You're
what I
very, very smart. What you figured out took us a long time to figure out, but that's exactly right. And by the way, we came to it based on our own artificial intelligence model. But yes, you're exactly right. Everything you said is 100% right.
Oh, and we give them the tools in through the thing. They can either go do the self-test, and if they like and they think and they see what it is, they can just go book a call, and then you can have an evaluation and determine if this is the right fit or not for you guys. Some people may not be at a point to do it. That's cool. But from what I've seen, and you've already answered this, that the majority of the people that have some type of small business, entrepreneurship, mom and pop operation, you know, they're probably, I'm guessing under $2 million in revenue? Is that probably is it more or less than that? I'm guessing that's
Well, it can be anywhere, but our market is, you know.
But I'm saying if somebody that's does $10 million in revenue, I'm hoping they have a really good.
No, dude.
We don't know.
No.
So that's not doesn't work that way, huh?
You'd be shocked. I mean, no, you would think so, but no. I
Good.
mean, even big companies sometimes miss this. Some even big time, big big four firms, meaning CPA firms, miss it. I mean,
Right.
it's out there. It's just like you were just saying. Some people kind of only look in their lane. So this is kind of outside their lane. You know what I mean? It's technology. Most CPAs aren't technologically advanced. We just went down that road early because of the things I mentioned. But I mean, especially small business CPAs have a hard time with it because it's just way outside. They can only do so many things. This is way outside their expertise.
Yeah, and they're not going to go learn it because if they were going to learn that, they could learn one of 75 other things ahead of it.
Yeah. This is a big thing for your buck, like you said. That was a very good analogy. I need this recording. Yeah, you're right.
No, I'm gonna sell it to you. Good. I'm gonna see if I can use this in my research and development to get my AI credit because I'll figure it out. Yeah, you can have it.
You can 100%. You can. You understand that. Let me explain that again. So, because you're going down that road of using AI, you've said that, right? So you're going to pass that four-prong test without a doubt, right? Based on what you've told me. So why wouldn't you? Again, divide your hours, your payroll. I don't know what it is. All your expenses. Yeah, you'll be eligible for R&D tax credits.
And if you don't have revenue, some maybe you operated at a loss for a year, right? But you can still capture it back 3 years, right?
Yeah. By the way, there's a hobby loss rule. If your business loses money for over 3 years, you got issues. But yes, the answer to that's a separate question. But the answer is yes. The IRS allows you to go back 3 years.
Got it. All right. So let me see. Is there any other question? Anybody else have any questions, guys? This is good stuff. I mean, you got a question, ask it. We're not going to say we know the answer to it, but we might be able to. We'll get all this stuff back out to you. Let me see if I have any other questions. I had written down a few of them here. I think we covered it. Oh, is there any Can any of this be used in conjunction with like retirement planning?
Explain. The answer
Well,
is
just like as like I don't know, just we're talking about tax planning, right? So there's the tax side of this, and there's obviously there's estate planning, retirement planning. It's all sort of under that same financial umbrella. I was just curious. I didn't know if I don't know what you could use it to do anything. I don't know if there's
yeah. I just got an email about that yesterday. Yeah, the answer to that is yes, because it
Good.
augments financial planning, because it increases net worth if you think about it. So let's say someone saved whatever $100,000 in taxes, making up a number. Yeah, I mean you could throw that into what we call wealth check again. AI. It's a financial plan as an example, and it helps in that regard. So the answer to that is yes. Plus, I'm just going to say the answer to that is yes.
All right. So one last question for me is that let's just say something that I come in or somebody comes in and they secure your services. Okay. What typically happens in that process? How long does that take? Like, if I come into you, am I filling out some kind of lead intake sheet and answering a bunch of questions for you? Am I giving you my previous tax returns? Am I doing, like when you do a CPA thing, they give you the form that you fill out and tells you all the stuff and you list it on and you submit it and then they figure out what it is. How does it typically get a client submit the application or the work order, if you will?
And are you talking about on the R&D side specifically what we've been
Yes.
talking about?
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
Pay you the 1%, find me 10% in savings.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, they go to the website that we talked about, and then they put in the information. They see the preliminary pre-qualification, what we call it,
Gotcha.
and see if they are potentially due some money, and then we go down that path. How long does it take? Well, a lot of it's based on the client, because on the automated system we call it AI Credit Max exclamation point. That's automated. A lot of that's automated, right? Number one,
Okay.
but number two, because it's new, we're walking people through that. On bigger, let's say companies that have more of a need, it's called enterprise. That's a lot more give and take. We have to do some research. We have to sometimes even call, some of them employees, believe it or not, see what they're doing. That's a whole nother deal. But anywhere along the spectrum, first, if you will, the core product, basically all automated down the road. Otherwise, the concierge service, lots of work, and it takes a while, to be more than blunt.
Yeah, no, it's pretty labor intensive stuff, even though there's AI involved, because you still got the
Right.
human element of it to making sure that all the T's are crossed and I's are dotted. All right.
Because we want to make sure there's no money left on the table. If we can save you money, if we can save Nick money, we're good to go.
Yeah, 100%. So is there anything we talked about the R&D credit, but inside the AI world, and we talked a little bit about tax preparation and using so does it also help identify potential deductions and credits that besides this one that maybe, I'm sure there's another one that right under R&D that gets missed a
Yeah.
lot of times. Maybe
Yeah,
not 88% of the time, but maybe 50% of the time or 40%.
Yeah, that's why we become known, because that tax projection plus that I showed on the screen, again, that helps project what the tax liability is going to be using artificial intelligence, which we've used, and then we see what we can do to kind of reformat things to help lower tax liability. So the answer to that is yes.
Got it. Perfect. Awesome. Guys, I mean that's awesome, man. I can't wait to really get into some of this stuff and just see where, how bad some of my accountants have been in the past. I might go back 10 years just to see what see how many vacations I was shortcutted on.
Yeah,
So,
there you go. By the way, hopefully you're not taking any vacations. You're taking business trips and doing some business.
I misused that word, and they're all R&D business trips.
There you go.
I'm trying to find places to build, green, I'm doing something. All right. All right. I appreciate it. I'm sure everybody else does. If you guys don't have any other questions, we'll let Kenner get back to this. If you're watching this on the replay and you don't have any questions, just reach out to us inside the school community and we can get you answered and all that. We'll put this recording back in there. Plus we have some giveaway stuff that we'll be posting in the community and sending out to the people that have registered on through the Zoom. And if you didn't register and you see us some other way, just reach out to us. We'll make sure we get you what you need. All right. Have a good one. Thanks, Kenner. And we will talk to you guys soon. Take care.
Sounds good.